Yo, am I tripping or is this whole thing rotating?
If you live in North Texas, today was one of those days where the sky suddenly turned against you. A powerful line of thunderstorms slammed into the Dallas-Fort Worth area this evening, bringing large hail, intense wind, and dangerous flash flooding to parts of the region. Meteorologists had been warning about this all day. A stalled weather front sitting across North Texas was acting like a trigger, just waiting for the right conditions to fire off severe storms. And by late afternoon, that's exactly what happened. Storms began rapidly forming and spreading across the Metroplex. What started as isolated cells quickly grew into powerful thunderstorms capable of producing damaging weather. Throughout the day, the atmosphere over North Texas had been building toward this moment. Warm, humid air flowing up from the Gulf of Mexico pushed into the region and collided with cooler air higher in the atmosphere. That combination created a volatile setup, the kind of environment where storms can explode in strength very quickly. As the storms formed along the stalled boundary, they intensified fast. Heavy rain poured down in bursts. Strong winds began pushing through neighborhoods, and in some areas, large hail started crashing down, hitting rooftops, windshields, and cars parked outside. For many residents, the storm arrived suddenly and violently. Some people reported hailstones pounding their vehicles, sounding like rocks being thrown from the sky. Others rushed indoors as the wind picked up and the rain intensified. Within minutes, emergency alerts began appearing on phones across the region, warning residents about severe thunderstorms and possible flash flooding. Low-lying roads quickly started filling with water as the storms continued moving across several counties. Meteorologists are urging residents to stay weather-aware tonight, avoid flooded roadways, and keep an eye on local warnings as these storms continue moving through North Texas. Because when the atmosphere sets up like this, conditions can change very quickly. And, as many people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area just experienced, severe weather can arrive with very little warning. A flash flood warning was issued for Rockwell, Ellis, and Johnson counties and remained in effect until 8:30 p.m. But the alerts didn't stop there. As storms continued moving over the same areas again and again, additional flash flood warnings were expanded across North Texas. Tarrant County was placed under warning until 10 p.m. and Dallas County until 11 p.m. Meteorologists reported that some communities had already received between 2 and 3 inches of rain, and with the storms still active, another 1 to 2 inches was expected before the night was over. In several neighborhoods, the impact was already becoming obvious. Water was pouring down streets, quickly overwhelming drainage systems. In some areas, roads began to resemble fast-moving streams as runoff rushed through intersections and low-lying neighborhoods. The flooding threat became especially serious in parts of southwestern Dallas County and southeastern Tarrant County, where rainfall rates were intense enough to turn ordinary streets into dangerous waterways. In the city of Cedar Hill, multiple vehicles became stranded as water levels rose rapidly. Reports came in of drivers trapped in their cars near the Hillside Village and Uptown areas. Emergency crews were dispatched to perform water rescues as conditions worsened and floodwaters continued rising. Meanwhile, the severe weather threat stretched across a large portion of North Texas. A severe thunderstorm watch was issued for dozens of counties, including Collin, Cook, Dallas, Delta, Denton, Ellis, Fannin, Grayson, Hood, Hopkins, Hunt, Johnson, Kaufman, Lamar, Parker, Rains, Rockwell, Somerville, Tarrant, and Wise counties. Forecasters warned that the strongest storms could produce large hail capable of damaging vehicles and rooftops. Powerful wind gusts were also possible, strong enough to knock down trees and power lines. Forecasters also cautioned that an isolated tornado could not be ruled out, especially within the strongest storm clusters. One of the most dramatic moments of the day happened in the city of Garland. Shortly before 5 p.m., the roof of a warehouse near West Kingsley Road and Shiloh Road suddenly collapsed. According to officials with the Garland Fire Department, the structure gave way after heavy rainwater collected on the roof, creating more weight than the building could handle. Thankfully, no injuries were reported, but the incident served as a powerful reminder of just how intense the rainfall had become in such a short amount of time. Meteorologists say what we're seeing in Texas may only be the beginning of a much larger weather pattern developing across the United States. The same stalled weather front responsible for today's storms stretches across the central part of the country, reaching from the southern plains all the way toward the Ohio Valley. And south of that boundary, warm and humid air continues pushing north from the Gulf of Mexico. That warm air is packed with moisture, and it acts like fuel for developing thunderstorms. When it rises and collides with colder air higher up in the atmosphere, the result is a highly unstable environment, the exact kind of setup that allows storms to grow stronger very quickly. That instability is what can turn an ordinary thunderstorm into a dangerous one. It's the ingredient that allows storms to produce large hail, destructive wind gusts, and sometimes even tornadoes. According to forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center, the United States could experience some form of severe weather almost every day for the next week. This pattern marks one of the first major severe weather outbreaks of the spring season. And because the system stretches across such a large part of the country, millions of people, from Texas all the way up toward the Great Lakes, are now keeping a close eye on the forecast. Back in Texas, state officials had already begun preparing before the storms even arrived. Governor Greg Abbott activated emergency resources after early forecasts indicated that strong storms and flooding could become a serious threat. Emergency management teams across the state were placed on standby, ready to respond quickly if conditions worsened. Meteorologists monitoring this system say some of the strongest storms in this pattern could produce hail larger than 2 inches in diameter. That's roughly the size of a golf ball, large enough to cause serious damage to vehicles, roofs, and windows. Wind gusts could also become extremely powerful, potentially exceeding 80 miles per hour in the most intense storms. And in certain areas, tornadoes cannot be ruled out. Forecasters say the tornado risk may increase in parts of eastern Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and sections of the southern plains over the next several days as this weather pattern continues to evolve. For now, meteorologists are urging residents across the region to stay informed, monitor local forecasts, and be prepared in case warnings are issued. Because with a system this large and this active, the situation can change quickly. And as the spring severe weather season begins to ramp up, the skies across much of the country could remain active for days to come. As the storms continue, another major concern is starting to grow: flash flooding. Meteorologists say repeated rounds of thunderstorms moving over the same areas could bring significant rainfall across several states. According to the Weather Prediction Center, many regions could see at least 2 inches of rain, while some isolated areas may receive between 3 and 5 inches if storms continue tracking over the same locations. The greatest flooding risk right now stretches from eastern Oklahoma through northwest Arkansas and into southern Missouri during the middle of the week, but the concern doesn't stop there. By the time we reach the weekend, the threat of flooding is expected to expand farther south and east. Parts of central and northeast Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and northern Louisiana could all see heavy rainfall as this weather pattern continues. Major cities, including Dallas, Austin, and Shreveport, may face some of the highest risks if storms repeatedly move through those areas. For North Texas specifically, forecasters say there may be a short break in the severe weather on Thursday. Temperatures are expected to climb back into the 80s, bringing a brief return of warm and calmer conditions. But that break may not last long. Another round of storms is expected to develop by Friday afternoon and continue into the evening hours, and those storms could once again bring dangerous weather to the region. Meteorologists say Friday is shaping up to be one of the most active and potentially dangerous periods in this developing pattern. Severe storms could begin forming across the southern and central plains during the afternoon before spreading north toward the Missouri Valley later in the day. Some of the strongest storms may produce hail larger than 2 inches in diameter, wind gusts exceeding 80 miles per hour, and the potential for strong tornadoes. Along with those threats, flash flooding will remain a serious concern. With saturated ground and repeated rounds of rain expected through the end of the week and into the weekend, even moderate rainfall could quickly lead to flooding in vulnerable areas. Forecasters say the situation will continue to evolve over the coming days, and residents across the region are being urged to stay alert and monitor weather updates closely. Because when a weather pattern like this sets up across the country, the impacts can last for days. Forecasters say the repeated rounds of thunderstorms could push total rainfall across the Dallas-Fort Worth area to nearly 4 inches before this weather pattern finally begins to weaken. Even then, the threat may not disappear right away. Looking ahead to early next week, scattered thunderstorms are expected to remain in the forecast across parts of Texas and the surrounding region. Right now, Tuesday is already showing signs of becoming another day with the potential for severe weather. As storms continue developing across Texas tonight, officials are urging residents to stay alert for weather warnings and to avoid driving through flooded roadways. Even a small amount of moving water can sweep a vehicle off the road, and many flood-related rescues happen when drivers underestimate how dangerous those conditions can be. What began earlier as a line of storms along a stalled weather front has now grown into a much larger weather pattern affecting a significant part of the country. Over the next several days, millions of people across the United States could experience severe thunderstorms as this system continues to move and evolve. For communities across North Texas, however, the immediate concern remains the storms already moving through the region tonight. Large hail, powerful wind gusts, and flash flooding are all possible as these storms continue tracking across the area. And with additional rounds of severe weather expected later this week, meteorologists say conditions could change quickly as the spring storm season begins ramping up across the United States. If you found this update helpful and want to stay informed about major weather events happening across the country, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you know someone who lives in an area that could be affected by these storms, consider sharing this video with them so they can stay informed as well. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and we'll continue bringing you updates as this weather situation develops.